Fay Insurance. I'm Tony Miltenberger, along with my co-host Greg Fay. Every single week, we do our very best to bring local entrepreneurs straight to your computer screen so you can learn more about what it means to run a business. Greg, why don't you tell everyone who we've got on the podcast this week?
Happy to today. Welcome back, Tony. You've been out for a couple weeks. Everybody has missed you, so welcome back. I want to say that.
Thank you.
The podcast is infinitely better when you're on it, and it's
You're
going to
kind.
be
You're kind.
even 10x because of our guest today, Lori Horstman. Lori, I've got a little bio I want to read. I promised that I wouldn't go all the way back to your childhood. So I had AI really tighten it up, and it did a good job. Lori Horstman is a certified dementia specialist and consultant who provides training and education in dementia care and understanding. She's dedicated to helping caregivers, and that's the key word right there. That's where she's so valuable. Helping caregivers, families, healthcare professionals, and organizations develop compassionate, person-centered approaches to supporting individuals living with dementia. Through practical education and guidance, Lori empowers others to provide care with confidence, empathy, dignity, and respect. Thank you for being with us today, Lori. We're excited.
Thank you. That was actually pretty good.
Thank you. Good.
Lori, I think one of the things that a lot of people who have their own business and are entrepreneurs know is that the riches are in the niches.
Mm-hmm.
And so somewhere along the way, you said, hey, I think I want to really dial in on dementia and how to care for the caregivers there. Give us a little bit of that origin story. When did you know that this is an area or a field or an expertise that one, you cared about, and two, could really help the community?
Uh, I don't think too many people start out wanting to do this, truly. Mine was my family dynamics. My mother and father passed away 11 weeks apart. And I have five brothers. And being the only daughter, the caregiving story fell on my shoulders. And I learned quickly. And my twins were only 5 years old at the time when all this started. And I was still teaching at Miami University. So there was a little bit of stress in there. So I learned quickly that when it comes to trying to just scream for support from the rooftops, you're not even sure what you're asking for. You don't even know what to ask for. So when somebody says, "How can I help you?" you just kind of stand there dumbfounded. So after I went through this, my oldest brother was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. And then I started to figure out, okay, we have to figure out how to take care of people who are taking care of people. And there was this niche for this. I People would ask me my story. I started talking to them, offering up advice, and one thing led to another, and a couple of things were born. There's like say two pegs. Most caregivers that take care of somebody with dementia, as soon as their journey ends there, the next question is, am I going to get this next? And they're just terrified that they're going to be the next one to get dementia. And some of the questions I would get is it contagious? And I'm like, no, it's not contagious. Feels like it, but it's not contagious. And the next thing was, how do I take care of the person who's taking care of somebody? So there was two avenues that opened up. And my minister actually came to my church about 12, 15 years ago and said, you have something. How would you like to do this? And I had no idea what I had. Didn't have any clue where to start or what to do. He offered me a platform called Mind Hope at Southbrook Christian Church. And we started with the brain bootcamp classes. And those were designed based on research on how not to get dementia. And there's so much research out there that tells you that you can reverse this, stop it dead in its tracks. Only 10% of it's hereditary, the rest is lifestyle. And then we went with another niche, and that was the support groups on teaching caregivers how to be caregivers, and how not to lose it in the midst of all of this. So kind of like, I don't know, came out of a need of niche that I kind of fell into backwards.
So good. I tell you, a lot of entrepreneurs may have seen the headline of this Ohio Business Spotlight and said, okay, what am I going to learn from someone that's an expert at dementia? And I just happen to have listened to every single one of yours and Charlie's podcast, and even played those little games and competed with your husband at the gym. But one thing that I think anybody who's thinking about starting a business or is operating a business right now is, I was amazed at what a entry level uh, position you take. I remember you talking about on a podcast, and this is where I think business owners miss it. They think, oh, that's way too easy. There's no way that's a problem in my business. My problems are high level. But you talked about watching either your dad or your mom brush their teeth, and you were their primary caregiver.
Mhm.
And there was something about that habit that was falling off. And the way that you got down at their level
Mhm.
and recognized, I've got to learn how they do this so that when it starts when the capabilities start to slip away, I'm going to be able to draw them back to how they always did it. That is such a 101 elementary kindergarten approach, but those details matter, don't they?
Yes. So I liken it to this. You cannot learn dementia without knowing who you're taking care of. And dementia is very vast and very diverse. And I say things like you have to learn how to speak dementia. So you're learning how to speak that language, but at the same time, you have to know the person that you're speaking it to. So Greg, and I've got Greg and Tony sitting in front of me, the way the two of you do things is very, very different. So I'd have to figure out how Tony likes something done. And then I have to figure out what part of his brain is failing. And I have to marry those two things together then to be a very good caregiver for him. And what I would use on him is not the same way I would do it for Greg. It's just like parenting. You have a
Mm,
couple, you said you had three daughters, Greg. Did you parent them all three the exact same way?
not even close.
You can't. You have to speak that individual's language and then you have to put it through the dementia filter. And that's where it gets tricky because you could read a book on it, but then you need to know how that applies to your person. And that's the different approach I take because I knew my dad and I knew what he was trying to do. And I had to help him bridge the difference. So as a caregiver, you're truly the bridge between what they're trying to do and then success. And
What
but
a
you have to
great way to
speak
put
their
that.
language. And it's a little tricky, but you can do it.
Mm,
One of the interesting things about your story is that Brain Bootcamp started out of a ministry, kind of like you told the story already about Southbrook and that whole thing getting launched. But it's not that you just do that kind of work. You also have a day job, and then you've got twins who are getting ready to graduate college this weekend, I think, and some
Yes.
pretty amazing things. You're a type A leader that's managing massive amounts of responsibility. What advice would you give someone who's a little bit further behind you in the journey and looks at you and says, I could never manage all the things that she manages?
Oh, I just got asked this question by one of my residents the other day, and she's like, "How do you do all this?" And I'm like, "Okay, so organization is key." And I am a big calendar junkie. Now, my husband likes electronics, but as we saw earlier, I can repel those. So I have my calendars in front of me, and I think God blessed me with the twins to teach me how to get yourself organized, and everything is color coded. You don't have to do everything at once. You just have to do the small things, and you want to stay consistent with it. And it's the same thing I teach caregivers. Any type of change that's going to come about that's meaningful or that's going to make sense has to be consistent. It's just like going to the gym. You're not going to get what you want overnight because you worked out one time, but you have to organize the process and you have to work that process. And just a little bit each day is all you have to do. So I literally have like in front of me my different journals right now because I've got my business that I'm doing, I've got my taking care of people, and I have them all laid out and just start. Take the first step. You're not going to get it right the first time, and that's okay. It's a learning process. But everything that happens for you is happening for a reason. And on down the line, you're going to use it for something. So I always tell people just start with an organization process that makes sense to you. Come up with where you want to finish. What's the end goal going to look like? What does success look like for you? Because it's very different for everyone. And then work that plan backwards and then just a little bit each day to get there. Because I never would have thought I'd been doing this. And if you had told me back in college that I'd be speaking, I changed my major so I wouldn't have to give speech in college. I did. And this
mm.
is what I do now. But I tell people when you find something you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like work. And it starts to be something that it feeds you. It fills my bucket when I do this kind of stuff. It's not draining. But you do have to organize your time. And you just a little bit each day, small consistencies. That's all it takes.
Boy, you've said something that's been a common thread, and I feel like I say this every single podcast. Business owners say the same thing, Lori. They speak the same language, especially ones that are looking to improve. The ones that don't know how to improve, I'm so happy that it's a continuous thread. Repetition is a good thing. I heard you say two things that everybody has said, and I'm going to ask you to pick which one you want to drill down on.
Okay.
You talked about loving what you do, and it's not going to be a job anymore. And that's a stumbling block for some right there. But you also talked about, and you didn't talk about systems from a 10,000 foot view. You talked about the organization mechanism of systems. But there's so many systems that have to be put in place. You could probably speak to them with your patient care, with your training of caregivers, with the residents that you train. Uh, if you would just speak a little bit on either one of those, on how love and what you do is so important, or the systems that you use, because I think that there's going to be a lot of meat here to cover for a business owner to really embrace.
So start with the love what you do, because when I was in the throes of being the actual caregiver, I hated it.
Hmm.
This was not, and that's what I tell people. You may end up falling into your passion because you've been there and you've got some scars to show it. And that's where I ended up going with this. So my passion was I've already walked that journey and I can see this person from across the room. My kids will tell you I'm a magnet for these kinds of people. I can just it's like, "Oh yeah, I see you, sister. I know what you're going through." And I could speak their language because I'd been there. And I knew that the guilt they were feeling, the shame they were feeling, the frustration. So the passion became with, let me walk you through this. You don't have to go by yourself. And I say that often because it's a season of life that you're in. It's nothing that you plan for. It's your mom, it's your dad, it's your spouse. You didn't plan for this. There's no handbook on this. There's no manual on how to do it right. And I tell people, you're going to go through this journey and you're going to come out the other side changed. And how you choose to look at that change, what you're going to do with that change. And in my case, I turned around to try to help somebody go through it also. And I keep walking it with them so they're not by themselves. So the passion part, loving what you do, I think it comes from the fact that at the end of the day, you know you were the answer to someone's prayer because you don't even realize how your words can impact someone. And that's why I tell people everybody's a salesperson. You don't realize that you're selling something all the time, you're selling yourself. But in this case, in a lot of cases, like I just had a support group Tuesday night, and one of the questions was, well, how do I get my family to help? And I just kind of chuckled because I'm like, oh, yeah, no. Let me walk you through this because it's not going to be like you think. And having gone through that experience, and it was a horrible experience at the time, but now I can look back at it and I've turned the pain into power, if you will. And that's what you can do as a business owner. You look at what is someone's pain point and how can you be the person that can fix that. And if you've lived that pain point, you can really be a blessing for them. So the passion, when you find something you like, you're not really working. It doesn't feel like work. A lot of this comes almost second nature for me because I've been there and I've done it personally. It's different from the education that I received on it. And I think that that's what makes somebody really good at what they do is they're not just trying to make a buck off of it because I never was. And it wasn't until here recently that somebody's like, "Hey, you've got a business." I'm like, "I do?" So I didn't have a clue that I did because it wasn't what I was trying to do. I was trying to improve people's lives. And it just took off from there naturally.
You know, it's that passion from the work that really propelled you to get into some of those speaking engagements. Like you mentioned, you don't love it. I think one of the key ingredients for all entrepreneurs is the ability to communicate. So, talk to us about a couple of moments when you realized I'm going to have to stand up there and give a message and it needs to be good. How did you overcome that obstacle?
Oh my goodness. Can I give you one that was kind of embarrassing, but they said, "Hey, you'd be the
Absolutely. We
perfect person."
love
Okay.
embarrassing stories. Usually it's just Greg and I.
So, all right. So I do speaking engagements and I've done trainings for the state of Ohio and I work in assisted living, skilled care nursing units and stuff like that. And one of the things that happens in the memory care unit is with some types of dementias, they become more a heightened libido, a little bit more
Mm,
sexually active. Okay.
sure. Sure.
And they're like, "Can you come and train on that at our state conference?" And I'm like, Okay. So, all right. So you just asked for the best one.
Yeah,
So
this is
I
amazing. By the way, what was the name of the talk?
well, okay. So I tooled around with some ideas, and I did get with all these legal officials. I had to get all of the research behind it. And so basically, one of the questions that they came up with, and I think the title that they came up with was sexual activity, or sexual behaviors and dementia, is how they just put a very, easy, we can do that. But the best part was my walk-up song that I did not know was about to play. Salt and pepper, let's talk about sex.
Oh,
They're miking me up, and I'm like turning 18 shades of red over here, going, "You got it, okay." Whew. So we had to and I thought there was going to be 50 people. They called me the night before and said, "Hey, we're changing your room location. We've got 300 people that want to hear this." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I'm sitting here going, "All right, we got to say some words. Everybody get the giggles out. Let's do this." And by the time it was done, they were hanging on my every word. And I'm like, I cannot believe I just survived. I think I sweated through my suit the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I think it was the walk up song that did it for me, because I'm like, they didn't tell me they were going to do that. But you have to connect with people. And the way that I talk is I just talk real. I've been told I have a little bit of a gift of taking like very, very high functioning, high neurological things, and breaking them down into everyday. This is what this means. And that's where, when you're talking to people in your training, not everybody's on the same wavelength, and you do have to bring it down and make it understandable. But this is not necessarily a feel good topic, and you have to remember to make it somewhat comical. Because when I was a professor, the one thing I learned is that if I could get you to laugh or feel something with it, it would stick. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I try to get you to feel something with it. And I don't want you to feel fear. I don't want dread. I don't want the sadness part, because even my caregiver support groups, there's going to be laughter in there, because I learned quickly as a caregiver, if you're not laughing your way through it, you're drinking over there in the corner until you pass out. And you've got to figure out a way to laugh about some of this stuff. And I tried to turn it into that. But when you're communicating with people, go real. Just don't talk the way you would normally talk to them. Talk to them like you're talking to a friend. But make sure you know what your walk up song is going to be before you step on. That was the best.
Tony, I'll take topics that I didn't think we were going to discuss today for 100.
Listen, I've had to train on all these topics. So I'm like, you can't really, like, what do we need to know? So I'm like, yes, they do that. And yes, it happens. So let's talk about it. So yeah.
Well, I love the nugget that you gave to every business owner right there, because everybody has got a, well, you said it in the very front part of where that little piece right there. You said everybody's in sales, they just don't know it. But you also said communicating at a level, breaking it down to where, it's just at that basic level. So it's so easy to understand. You build in fun with it being understanding. So you got a business on your hands here that you didn't quite recognize that you had. And that, I think that's pretty commonplace. That's probably a lot of what Tony deals with in his executive coaching. But you got a business on your hands here. And now you got to go from being just really good at what you do. That's going to be the daily function. But what does it look like now? What are some of the to-dos in one of Lori's calendar, whatever calendar has to do with that particular thing, on starting a business? And what are some things that you find yourself aware of right now that you didn't necessarily think was going to come up on the radar, and all of a sudden you're having to contend with it? Because chances are things that you've come up with, other business owners are coming up with, and maybe you've invented the wheel where somebody else doesn't have to reinvent it. What's popping up right now that you didn't expect and you're kind of working through?
One of the things, because my husband was like, you need to get a website and you want to have a membership website. And I think, Tony, you're partly responsible for that. And he kept coming at me like, you want me to build a website. You want me to do this. So first thing, know what your limits are. Because like I said, technology, we're not friends. So I started to research and ask people, and I was taking advice. And you have to be teachable. You've got to be coachable, and you have to realize what your limitations are and who can help you. And a friend in one of my brain boot camps suggested a word of mouth. I love that as soon as you give me somebody and I trust you and I know you, I'm going to run with it. And I researched this particular website builder, and he has been phenomenal in helping me. And he's based out of Ontario, and it's Admin Tribes, and they're absolutely amazing. He has walked me through so many things I didn't know that I needed. And he's coached me on how to do a launch, how to do this, and how to do these marketing things. And you're going to need this, and you're going to need. So he's taken all this stuff that I've just thrown at him, and he's organizing it for me, saying, you're going to need this, you're going to need, and just making the complicated very easy to understand. And he slows me way down and said, just this one thing right now, just do this. And then just, I'm telling you, you've got to find somebody who knows that part of the business, and don't act like you have to do it all, because you don't. I'm good at what I'm good at, and I am not good at this over here. And then I've had people that say, let me help you with this. Let me help you make sales calls. I'm like, and they're great at that. And let go and let people do things for you. One thing I learned quickly, and I think it's coming with advanced age, is that I don't have to be good at everything, and my fingerprints don't have to be on everything that I do. Find people who are good at what they do and then get out of their way. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm just over here going, I don't know what I need next. And he'll tell me, and then he'll guide me. And then I go and find that person who can help me. Pray it up and see what God brings you, because I am big on that. And some people have just been dropping right into my life. It's like, I can help with that. I can do this. And I'm like, yay, because I need you.
So that's incredible. Do we have a date that we can maybe break here for the website release? Is there a big party? What are we doing? How are we?
I don't know how this goes. I have a meeting with him after this. So he's looking at the end of May to have a soft launch of the website. And it's just going to be LoriHorstman.com. He goes, you have to use your name. Because he even said, don't come up with a fancy name. It's you. You're it. You're the product. I'm like, okay. And so it's LoriHorstman.com, but it's not there yet. And it's going to have like a membership platform. He's actually broken it down into 3 different things for me. One's going to be the brain bootcamp aspect. But Greg, you've gone through one of my programs. It's not going to be copy, paste, and repeat. He's taking it a step further. So like you'll log in, there's going to be like a website. I'm going to give you the neurology behind your brain. Then we're going to have like, if you and I could sit down and do a one-on-one 7-minute session, here it comes. And then the next one is going to be, okay, here's how you use it in practicality. And you get homework. You always get homework with me. And that's week 1. And then there's week 2, week 3, and he keeps going. And he's actually had me map out 12 months worth of curriculum. So it's there. Then the next one, the second section, is going to be for the caregivers. And it's videos on how to do this, how to do the hand holding, how to help with the toothbrush, things along those lines, along with when I'm losing it, I need help. And there's going to be a whole video library for those guys to check into. And then the third part is the professional piece. And if you need a speaker, if you need training at your staff, and him and another gentleman opened up my eyes to the fact that, Lori, you're not just dementia, you're not just caregiver. He goes, you're entitled staff wellness. He goes, you could go into a company and do a whole wellness program on brain health and burnout. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of what I do. I didn't realize. So they're showing me ways that my business is expanding. So it's coming. So, and they're also keeping me in here because I would be all over the place. And like, here's your frame, stay right here. So I'm like, thank you. But it's coming. So probably the end of May, first part of June. And I have an email list right now of about 800 people that are on my email. That's why I said I didn't know how to business. He goes, you have 800 email contacts? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you have a business. And I'm like, oh, I had no clue. So I'm letting people know on my Facebook and through the emails that it's coming. And once I have the soft launch date, they're going to be the first ones to find out about it. So
that's amazing.
Yep.
Sorry that my landscaper decided to mow the lawn outside. I finally realized I could mute my mic when I wasn't talking, and you guys wouldn't hear the mower going like that. I've got to just grab one thing that you said and not necessarily circle back to it, but just point out. You said something that is so common and so important. Is you said be teachable. And be willing to let someone else do something else that you're not really good at. Look at everything as what's the best way to do it. I might not have the best answer. I think your exact quote was, my fingerprints don't have to be on the whole thing. And boy, if business owners walk away with nothing from this podcast right there, that right there, it's just solid gold money, being teachable. Someone that our guest last week just said that. I stole Tony's question, and I asked if you go back to a younger you and you were going to give advice to a younger you, Dietrich Jett, owner of Success to Gateway, she couldn't get the words out of her mouth fast enough. She said, be coachable.
Yep.
And that's exactly what you just said. So you have a business now. I know Tony's closing question, and I've kind of adopted Ryan Hawk's closing question, and I've used it the last 5 or 6 podcasts since we're winding up. Tony and I gift you with a bottle of champagne and say, Lori, you and Eric, and we can't pop the top for a year. What are we going to be celebrating 1 year from now when we do pop the top on that bottle of champagne? And I'm going to mute my mower out here so you can answer quietly.
1 year from now. And that's kind of funny you say that. Did Eric tell you? Because I've given myself a 1 year launch date for this website. So my goal was in 1 year's time, when that launches, I'm going to start to expand what I want to do. And one of the things is I want to write a journal for caregivers. So that's one of the things. So this website will be 1 year old, and that journal will probably be on its way out for caregivers, just to clear your head, clear your thoughts, and kind of help with the Brain Bootcamp as well. The other one is a journal for people who are caregivers in the throes of things, and it's a how-to book. And that's one of the other things. That's my 1 year goal from now. It's basically like, with everything hits the wall, try this. And it's not really like a how-to. It's more like an owner's manual, if you will, for being a caregiver. If this is happening, then try this. So 1 year from now, that website is going to be huge. That's my plan. And those books are going to be well on their way out and coming out to help people dealing with all of this, so that you've got a resource tool in your hand if that's the kind of person you are and that's what you need. So that's what we'll be toasting to in a year.
Can't wait. And we'd love to have you come back on in a year and talk about how your membership platform is going and what that looks like, and really get into that a little bit more in depth.
Absolutely.
The last question we love to ask people is going to be the hardest question all day, which is, who should we be talking to that you know? Who are some local business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, the people who kind of support our community? Who are those people that we should be reaching out to? 1 or 2 names would be perfect.
So I'm not entirely sure who all you've talked to, but there is an amazing young lady. Her name is Wendy Roop.
Love Wendy.
She is absolutely amazing. So you need to be talking to her if you have not. And then the other one, do you guys know Sherry Knight?
I don't.
I got one for you.
You got one for us.
I'm all about empowering Christian women, and these 2 ladies are absolutely amazing. So I love what they do and the work that they do.
That's
Sherry's
right. That
all about
workshop
helping
that you did
people.
with
So is
Wendy
Wendy.
not too long ago looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's the best. Well, thank you, Lori, for being so generous with your time today. Thank you for pouring into our community. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And remember, support your local business, because your local business supports you. We'll talk to you guys real soon.